So I was supposed to be president of the United States of America, which is why I saw the extraterrestrial. I have encounters with them. It comes as part of the territory, but I'm very premature, and that's why I'm being transferred around by the federal government. Except they didn't do me right. Sometimes white boys have an initiation, part of the bones, skull and bones, and FBI this to make sure that you're loyal and whatever, to be considered an American. That you know how if you're able to take the white boy's shit and tolerate his taunts and his racial, like Austin Lloyd, the Secretary of Defense. I never went to school with them Catholic school boys. Never had to. Though my friends, the majority of them, were black Catholic school boys. The ones that had the cars and shit versus my street nigger friends. They just say it like that. That's why I hung out with the Catholic school boys and shit. But they had the girls and shit. But their parents' cars, their Volvos and whatever. But that was the thing. That's why I was being hidden by Thomas More. My friends were Catholic selected and things of that nature. After I was taken out from Queens Village, Springfield Gardens to Hempstead, my whole life was set up. I dated and in theory, a German woman named Karen Bedno, and they did everything in their power to make me be receptive to white women who had abused me early on in 1974 to make sure I kind of comply or be react a certain way subconsciously when white women come around, they almost have a fear of them by sight alone. And I just never understood what that, like I had knew naturally, watch your mouth and behave a certain way around white people based upon the abuse they subjected me to at 3 years old. My mother was nowhere part of that lesson in life. In fact, she was overly dosed with Haldol to make sure I had my own personal exclusive, like piano lessons with white women, how to behave around them and don't get no ideas as I developed. Which is why my father was used, you understand, to make sure how to behave around white people. When you know what kind of Uncle Tom they said he was, whatever the case was, not realizing but also picking up on why I need to be having respectful when blonde-haired white women come around me, which is unfair, doggish, and not right. I didn't learn the natural way, but I think about my man, Reverend Wright, that nigga from the nigger church. He had a radio show at one point. I should join it online. You know, right, what's it called? Reverend Wright, that nigger church, who said, from the moment you're born as a black kid, when the doctors with the white lab coats are responsible for your birth, it's like the first thing you ever see or realize wasn't a midwife or somebody who birthed you as a white Jewish doctor with a lab coat. When they smack you sometimes to breathe, that's where the shock starts in life. And he told you also, Reverend Wright, that nigga, that whenever they're wearing lab coats, they're measuring you based upon a European standard. It doesn't apply to you with your African American genetics. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day from Texas who said when he got sick with something, they ran 2 tests on him. One was one test, the second one was an African American test. My friend Marvin just complained about it and said the case. He said, his point was, what difference does it make? Why don't you just you get it? He did that in the state of Texas. He basically, he said he had to do what he had to do. But that's the problem. What's going on? And that's how people feel. People don't trust doctors, and you got every goddamn right not to. Because it's not really built for us, necessarily. But still, if I'm on the right track, I know I made that other thing, but it's still, If I, maybe because I'm thinking about it. But so that's what they did. They cut off my in February. At one point, my cousin Verdi Justin was on the phone with me one time. When they first called me up one time, I think it was like back sometime late last year. He called me up. We was having a conversation, and I put him on three-way. And the guy on the phone from Social Security, the department rather, he choked up his voice. Realized I had him on the conference. Because I told my nephew Justin, I said, "Hang on the phone with me, please." Knowing it was and I told him, "I've been cleared twice by the state. Why do you guys want me to keep coming in when I'm really in no position to travel, when I really need medical attention?" Right? And he started to yell at me, boom, boom, boom. So it was postponed. Then they sent me notification afterwards as though they're going to continue my Social Security payments with Harry Williams as a personal witness to it. When I submitted that, then they sent me some paperwork saying you got to come in on a certain date. Otherwise, it's very confusing with the federal government. But so something had happened where they didn't get the paperwork or whatever it was. And then a woman by the name of Julissa from from Health First, my insurance, who paid for all of my abuse all those years and denied me of the name of the medication that Dr. Warman prescribed, because I would call them every single goddamn day to get them to give me the name of the medication. Because all they wanted to do was for me to go down there physically and the poor health that I'm in to address getting the medical records, which when I was sent up to the 5th floor here, after 409, that tormenting experience as I'm sick with kidney failure, the resident doctor, Chinese Lee, had me sign documents to release that form, a medical record from Queens Hospital Center. Took my signature, first tried to have me sign a document that wasn't filled out. When I made that an issue, she goes back and said, "Oh, let me get the other part of it." But she came back and still was the same thing. Just for me to get request medical records starting June, I saw that part, June 14th. After they got my signature, they said, all doctors said it takes a week to get it. It's been over a month now. And I haven't heard a peep. The only thing I heard was your guardianship was pushed through and you have somebody appointed. Then after that, days later, I'm told nobody wants to accept me a part of me being first they said a judge appointed a nonprofit organization, according to Rob Zeppelin, who they used him. That means the judge couldn't make a ruling unless somebody was appointed who agreed with the knowledge they understood my health situation. Now they change their mind and says, nobody don't want you because of the severity of your health condition. So that's why I said it never took place. But to scare me up and my friends, these people are not letting me go. Almost like a David Koresh cult. That's how they come in. You cannot leave. Remember Jan Marino had this in ATF? And that's what's killing the shit out of this government, Joe Biden's government and Attorney General. We just had Trump's thing raided, Mar-a-Lago, and will not budge in my situation. When what David Koresh's followers did, set the fucking place on a fire before they was able to go in there and get his ass. Meanwhile, they believe I'm some kind of a Satan god or something that these white doctors have hit. I don't know where they get it from. So once again, I cry out and petition somebody from the Justice Department to get me out of here and into a safe environment. If your eardrums can hear me, will you please? It may not be in the state housing, but it's here. And when they cut off my Social Security in February, that's when my legs had swelled up like a super elephant. Now I can't even feel my toes right now due to nerve damage on both feet. I can't do but so much. Now, because my health insurance was cut off for 3 weeks, I couldn't take any medication, whether I wanted to or not. That is the federal government who called that one. When somebody from the state said, we have a problem, just to raid me out of that house with no electricity, that they want to say, I burnt out them sockets. That's what they want to say. That I destroyed the door to my bedroom. That I broke down the door of the Jewish fella. Because Dr. Nasir was trying to say I was behaving oddly. What he said, keep me, as we call ourselves, Jeffrey, that word. You're trying to keep yourself, people barricading yourself in the apartment. At one point, he said, you've been evicted. But during that period, somebody went in that apartment and started destroying objects, destroyed the coffee table, and destroyed my TV set in my bedroom. The only way I found out that TV set didn't work was when that woman from San Diego came to watch movies. When we turned it on, the screen was completely smashed because I forget it, and they're gonna say it's me. The only thing I did in that apartment was write on the walls shit that Karen was doing to me because I knew I was dying. That's the only thing I did. Either took a pencil or marker, wrote on every fucking wall that I could to get the message out. I wouldn't be surprised if they painted them fucking walls or how are they going to handle it. Trying to control a crime scene, the federal government and the state, who had dreams and aspirations of me being discovered with a needle syringe in my arm until I was shooting heroin. They did everything in their power. Do you understand me? To hide my specific fiery abuse of my ass. Nobody's ever been abused as badly in the African American community and set up to go on in life without no intervention by the Justice Department. It's unheard of. Anybody who reviews my case, it is unheard of. It never goes that far. And that's after years of crying out to lawyers who just said, it is not that serious. Call me the next time you get hurt. When I have the medical records in my hand that my penis was electrocuted at Miriam Cantor's Jewish chiropractor's office. When the Puerto Rican women turned the electricity up too high, but they have this inclination that they do not get arrested or they never get held responsible for black nigga Satan abuse. Don't you get it? I was supposed to have been and gotten a reaction, a actual physical one that brings me pleasure, that I know my life is safe. Now you all are in trouble, in grave danger, because you stand by, in this case here. I was actually due to be a presidential candidate to make a difference. That was one of my rights. Acting or not, somebody got viciously jealous because I don't say the things that white women would like for me to say that brings them comfort. You understand? I'm my own man and I go my own way. Now, in the event that I make it now to the Oval Office, my visual appearance says it all on how white people felt and how much fear they had to make sure and prevent me from becoming a presidential whether I'm limping to the White House, whether I'm in a wheelchair, whether I don't even speak anymore, it speaks volume now. So we're going to wait to see how far the white devil man is going to go in order his Justice Department officials to stand by until I cough up blood a second time, vomit it up. You understand? As almost as a torturous method used to get me to lose oxygen to the brain to finally cause mental damage to then substantiate he lacks the mental capacity. And they're doing it as they go along to build a case against me and to justify to the black community why they've been saying what they've been saying about it from day one. You understand? Do you understand that? And the African American men, in some ways, need this death to take place as a form of liberation, to be used against white men. You understand it? And law enforcement per se, because the white boys been riding their backs and their necks for a long time, making them kill men like me, who are in the graveyard now, who didn't know how to tell you how they became a drug addict, or how they did this, how they did that. And that's what they got to, some law enforcement officials got to do it. You understand it? And sit by and bite their tongues, knowing they hate having to do this to their brother man. But they got to pay bills. You understand? It's killing them. You understand it? Deep down inside. And they commend me for being the ultimate champion. You understand it? For taking this shit, they don't even know how. These African American men in this day and age, how the fuck does he tolerate and deal unless he's a goddamn man?